Welcome back to another episode of Magic's in the Mess, the go-to podcast for ambitious women ready to stop pretending, start aligning, and finally build success your way. I'm your host, Danielle McKinley, speaker, business and wealth strategist, and your go-to problem-solving hype girl. Here, we'll help you unlock powerful mindset shifts, discover your magic, and bring your dream life into reality. Each week, I'll deliver raw stories, proven business strategies, and powerful transformations with industry leaders to activate the magic in you. So if you're ready to ditch the pressure, the performative BS, and the noise telling you who you should be, hit subscribe and let's make some magic. Welcome, Magic Makers! Today's guest is someone who doesn't just teach sales, she lives it. Jillian Murphy is a sales and marketing strategist with over 22 years of experience helping entrepreneurs simplify sales, clarify messaging, and close with confidence. After building multiple businesses of her own, she now teaches online business owners how to get real results through aligned messaging and modern sales strategy. She's the founder of Infinity, a sales and coaching membership, and she offers powerful trainings like her free webinar, How to Close from the DMs. Jillian believes sales is the oxygen of your business, and she's here to help breathe life into your offers and impact. Welcome to Magic in the Mess, Jillian.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. I'm such a fan of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, ditto, echoed. And we all know that you're a sales expert. Like that's what you're known for. That's your niche. But today I want to talk more about who you are. Sales is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about who you are because that is what people connect to.
Mm-hmm.
And who you are is what made you the sales guru that you are today.
Yeah.
So tell me a messy moment
Mm-hmm.
that you remember that impacts who you are today as the sales expert.
Yeah, I actually love this question so much because I think also as like high level entrepreneurs, expanders, right? Like we're so used to saying like, oh, I'm a businesswoman or I've grown my business to this, right? And that's really what we lead with. But again, like who we are as humans is really like the magic of who we are. So even when I'm getting interviewed on podcasts, so often I'm like, well, let me tell you first, like I'm a mom or I'm a Christian or all those things. So I really love that you're asking this question. But I think a moment that really like solidifies even where the success that I have today is one of my messy middle moments was I was in the corporate sales space for over 2 decades and I was a lifer in corporate. I always joke if I could like diddle the company's name on my forehead, I would have. Like I was a ride or die corporate person,
Okay.
you know, corner office, loved it. And I lost my job during the pandemic and I absolutely never ever saw that coming. I didn't know what digital marketing was. I didn't know what the online space was. I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. And that forced me into a massive change and a massive pivot into doing something different. And I truly feel that it was because I had the skill sets of selling and connections and relationship capital that allowed me to now have the business that I have in the online space today.
Sure. No, I love that. And I'm sure there's so many people that can go, oh my gosh, that was me, right? And that's the power of story.
Yeah.
So take me to the moment you lost your job.
Yeah.
Is this pre-pandemic or during the pandemic?
Yeah.
At what point?
Yeah. So there's actually a little story to this. So
Okay.
I had some friends who were actually in the online space. They were some pretty well-known influencers and they were always like on their Instagram stories, you know, making selfies. And I was like, what do you guys do? And they were like, we're actually going to a mastermind with Chris and Lori Harder.
Okay.
I had no idea who Chris and Lori Harder were, but they were like, it's in LA. We're going to go. It's like, it was called Fast Foundations at the time. They're like, hey, do you want to join us? It was like $8,000 and it's in LA. And I was like, to go to LA with my girlfriends for a week, like I'm totally in.
Sure.
So I go to this mastermind. I walk in. There's 50 entrepreneurs in there. I was the only person from corporate. So we get in there. We have to introduce ourselves at the front of the room. I remember I grabbed the mic and I was like, I'm from corporate. I have literally no idea what any of you guys do inside this room. I'm just here with my girlfriends. That's Lauren Salon. That's Jen Kennedy. Like I'm just here to like have a good time. And it was during that time that Nick Harder, who's Chris's brother, we had lunch. And he said, what do you do in corporate? And I said, oh, I'm a sales trainer and a sales exec. And he's like, you know, everyone in this room literally needs you. Like you could birth a business from this room alone. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And I was like, that's like, I literally paid no attention.
Yeah.
And I went home and 1 week to the day I lost my corporate job.
Wow.
And I remember I had a notebook and I went back and I was like scurrying through the papers. And I was like, what was that guy's name that I sat with at lunch?
Yeah.
And I slid into Nick's DMs and I was like, hey, I sat next to you at lunch. And I'm like, I think I need a business coach. I think I need someone to help me. And he actually connected me to someone who was in that room. Her name was Raquel Quinnett. She became my business coach. And from there, I actually birthed my business. So it's funny because Nick actually kind of birthed my business, even though Chris has been my mentor for 4 years.
Okay. So there's so much that I love about that
Yeah.
story. And the number one takeaway that I want to nail out is
Mhm.
that one connection, one
Yeah.
conversation, one blip in time can
Yeah.
completely change the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
And that was this for you.
Yeah, it was absolutely that for me. And I think the other thing, if you're listening, I took rapid action.
Yeah.
Like I had just lost my corporate job. I did not have a paycheck coming in. I did literally not know what I was going to do next, but I
Yeah.
knew I needed help. And I had never made an investment in my life. And I remember I had just spent $8,000 to go to this mastermind that I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, I need a business coach. And you and I are in the entrepreneurial space now. It's nothing to spend $5,000, $8,000,
Totally.
$10,000. But at that point, I was in corporate, and when someone told me what it was to invest in a business coach, I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? But I knew I had to take rapid action. And, I love sharing numbers, and I only love sharing numbers because I think people need to hear what's possible.
Yeah.
From there, I hit my first 6 figures in 6 months.
Okay.
I hit my first $500,000 in 18 months. And I think the only reason I did it is because 1, I took rapid action. And number 2 is I didn't have a plan B.
Yep.
I didn't have like, well, I'm
Safety
just
net
going
was
to
not
try.
there.
Yeah, I'm just going to like try this thing out, but I could always go back to corporate, or I'm just going to like try the online space, but like I'm going to have my resumes over here.
You went all in.
I was like, I'm going to go all in, and like I'm going to make this work. And that's what I've been doing for 4.5 years. It's like, I'm going to make infinity work. I'm going to make my podcast work. I'm going to make relationships work. And like, if that's what you're going to do, you'll make it work. It'll work.
It might not happen exactly the way you
No.
think it's going to, or the exact amount of time, but if you
Yeah.
put in the effort and you show up consistently every day, and success loves speed,
Absolutely.
right? And so the reason that you have that success is you went all in.
Yes.
And you moved really, really fast.
Really fast.
Now I want to, because you went to this event, so people go to those types of events, right? And they have an agenda.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is who I want to meet, and this is what I want to get out of it. And you literally went with like, I'm gonna go have some fun with my girlfriends.
Literally.
Which probably put you in a position to be really open
Yeah.
to getting downloads that you didn't see coming.
Yes.
Right. And when you took that mic, like, where does your confidence come from? Is it because you had all that background in sales? Was it because you had the attitude of like, I'm just here to have fun with my girlfriends?
Yeah.
When you picked up that mic, how did you feel inside?
Yes.
In that room?
Yeah. So I can literally remember my friend Bridget Boucher was sitting next to me. A lot of people know her now, but she was sitting next to me. She went first. I went second. I grabbed that mic, and I had never really spoken in front of a room of people I didn't know. I mean, I had been on, stages at that point for sales, and, I spoke in front of my company all the time, but these are people I didn't know. But the same thing that I did in sales was the same thing that I did there. And it was 100% detachment energy. And that's the same thing that I do even today. Same thing that I did this morning in a DM conversation. Like, I have 100% detachment energy. And it's like, I'm just going to show up unapologetically who I am.
Yeah.
If they like me, great. I'm not going to have a script. I'm just going to be who I am. And I remember like everyone had like a framework they were following. It was like, hi, I'm Jen. I'm from Scottsdale. I'm doing this. And I literally, yeah. And I was just like, hey, I'm Jillian. I'm from Detroit. I have like literally no idea what I'm doing here. Like, I'm just here to like have a good time. And like, it was people like just magnetized to that. And it also gave people permission to be like, it's okay to like not have it figured out.
Yes.
And it's okay to go up there and just be like free from it. And I think even going back to your initial question, yes, I go into events with that type of energy. Like, I'm going to be open to what is downloaded, but I also go into most events like 100% just who I am. And that's really where the magic comes as well.
Authenticity is your magic.
100%.
Like, if you can be yourself, the people that are meant for you come to you, and it takes the pressure off of yourself. If you get to show up and just be you, how much better is that than putting on the mask and dolling it up and trying to pretend like you're something that you're not? And it's okay to ask for help and not have it all figured out.
It's 100%.
So I love that. Now, we got to chat a little bit before the episode, and I'm like, what's off limits? And you're like, literally nothing. And it's that's my most favorite thing that you said. So I want to talk a little bit because you're also a mother.
Yeah.
And I'm a sales girly too.
Yeah.
And I like to attribute a lot of my sales skills have helped me as a mom. And you were sort of in the thick of it when you became a mom and developing it. So how has being a mom also helped you in your business and who you are today?
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to really like the beginning. So I started my sales career when I had my daughter. So I was 22 years old. I had just started my corporate career. And I think one of the things that I love to talk about is that I was a single mom the majority of my life, and sales allowed me to give my daughter the best life.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, you know, whether you listen to this podcast and you're a single mom or maybe you're challenged or you're struggling, get into sales, because when you
Yes.
know sales, whether it's a commission-based job or selling on the internet or whatever, like you can literally write your own paycheck. And you know, I've been divorced 3 times. I say this proudly. I'm totally okay with it. And every single time I got divorced, I was absolutely okay. We never skipped a beat. My daughter's life never really skipped a beat because I had a career in sales that allowed me to keep my life, to keep my lifestyle, to still give to her and all of those things. So I think like knowing how to sell has been so powerful, not only for me, but also like for her to see like it's absolutely
Security.
it's security. It's absolutely security. And then I think for me, being in sales has allowed me to really be like a strong mother and like a strong, like dominating personality, which I think is also attributed to her and who she is today as well.
Sure. Well, and you know, it's funny that you say that because when I'm talking with clients, I'm always like, what do you want more of? And they're like time, freedom, right? And all of that comes from money.
100%.
And if you can learn the sales skills, then you can go and get the money, and you can get the freedom and the structure and be able to do the things like you have.
Yeah,
which is so cool.
It is even so interesting. Like we're planning a wedding right now, you know, and she's getting married in 6 weeks. And even just being able to give her what she wants, knowing that I can go sell something tomorrow to repay whatever I just gave her.
Yeah.
Right? It's like having this ability to generate money when you know how to sell. And that's what I've been able to do her whole life.
Right.
Not even just now in the online space, but even like as a commission-based salesperson for 2 decades. It was like if she wanted something, it was like, okay, I can give this to her because I know how to sell and I can go generate that income tomorrow on a deal, on a bonus, any of those things. So I think it's been really, really powerful.
You can reverse engineer it and
Totally.
go, okay, I just need 2 of these or 1 of that.
Yeah.
And no problem. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, you can get the thing.
Yeah. She messaged me on Wednesday. She was at the bridal store and she's getting married in Vegas. So originally she was going to get this dress. It was $159. She's like, Mom, I need a wedding dress, $159. I was like, okay, no problem. Then of course it turns to, well, I think I'm going to go to a bridal store.
It's $1,100.
Yeah. Well, it ended up being $2,600. So I'm getting ready to jump on my webinar yesterday and she's like, Mom, I need a wedding dress. You know, it's $2,600. And I was like, okay. So all I thought to myself was like, all right,
I got to enroll 2 people.
I got to sell someone today, right?
Person.
Yeah, I got to sell someone. So it's like when you know how to sell and you know how to generate money, you know how to generate wealth, it's like you are not as afraid to make those decisions and do those things.
Sure. Well, I also think too, sales attributes to being able to have tough conversations. So you just shared, you know, you've been through 3 divorces. Those are tough conversations.
Very tough.
Right? So can you talk a little bit about how it translates outside of just working and generating money, but with relationships, friends, spouses, things like that?
Yeah. So when you're in sales, one of the things that I always say is like you have to take the emotion out of everything. Like again, going back to like detachment, right? So again, I've been divorced 3 times. I don't have a single bad thing to say about any of my exes. Like we've all parted on great terms.
Yeah.
And they were not great. They were not great marriages and they were bad divorces. But when you can take the emotion out of it and you can actually look at it as a business decision, like this just didn't work and the business broke down. The business of marriage, unfortunately, broke down. You can go into it like we didn't have, you know, high emotions during the divorce and we didn't have high, you know, like it just wasn't, because you can learn to look at things very differently. And I think that was very much my business mind. Now, I think on the flip side, it's also hurt me a little bit in life because I don't look at a lot of things with emotion. I do look at a lot of things black and white. There probably has been things in my life that I probably should have looked at a little bit more with emotion, or I should have cried, or whatever that is. But I also think that has served me very well, whether it's been tough conversations, firing a team member, going through a divorce, you know, raising my daughter, whatever that is, because I'm very just looking at the facts, very direct, and like it's very black and white.
So would you agree to this then, that one of the things you can do if you want to get good at sales or start to like practice sales is getting comfortable having tough conversations?
Yes.
And do them rapidly. Like don't wait, don't sit on it. Don't like have anxiety for 5 days because you got to go talk to the team member who's running the show. Just take action and do it. And the sooner you build that muscle of I can have those tough conversations, the better.
Yeah, I think everybody should really operate with getting told no at least 100 times. Like get told no as much as possible, because you just build a muscle of it doesn't
Yeah.
bother you.
Yep.
Like it literally doesn't bother you. My boyfriend right now, he was in photography for decades.
Okay.
And he shut down his business and he has a 9 to 5 now. And he just restarted photography.
Yeah.
And yesterday someone was like, oh, I'm not really interested in the package. And he like was heartbroken over it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you need to go sell 100 people and have 100 people tell you no.
Yeah.
Because you are like moping around like a freaking baby right now.
Yep.
Like it is not about you. It's either about their finances or they found somebody else, and like calm down. I go, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
There was 47 people on my webinar on Wednesday and 2 people bought, which means 45 people technically told me no. I'm celebrating the 2 that said yes, and the 45, it's not about me. It's literally about them. And if you can just focus on the people that are for you or the people that are saying yes, and do not focus on the people that are saying no, it's absolutely okay. And one of the things I say is like, my people just haven't caught on yet. It's not right now. It's literally just, it's not about you. And it's like, you just get used to being told no, and it's totally fine.
Well, that's like, we all have that experience early on, especially like it's a new thing that he started.
Yeah.
So you're like attached to it and you
So
want it to
attached.
work. And it's like, Lori Harder calls it rejection therapy.
Rejection therapy.
Everybody needs rejection
100%.
therapy. We all need it.
Yep.
And the sooner you get comfortable with it, the faster you can move, the better you'll be.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And just go get rejections. Like go ask people, right? Like
Seek it out.
Yeah.
If literally look for it.
If you want to get on 50 podcasts, go ask 100 people. Like just go get it out and start working that muscle.
Well, and that goes back to the like what you attribute your success to, which is moving fast.
Yeah.
So if part of what you want to do is get on more podcasts, you got to ask. Don't wait. Like sometimes you can't wait for the invitation. You have to go create it and get it yourself.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit then about the mistakes that you see. Like what's the biggest mistake you see people doing in sales? Let's give our listeners some tangibles.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I just talked about this in my webinar. I have a whole slide on like the biggest mistakes that people make in sales. Number 1 is they are doing what I call is like golden retriever energy, which golden retriever energy is like they're so excited and they're like, they just like, they give everything away so quick, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe someone slides into their DMs or they're on a sales call and they're like throwing up on someone. Like imagine when you come home and a golden retriever like jumps up on you and they're all in your face and they're like licking it, versus like if you have like a black cat, I call this like black cat energy. You have to almost like find the black cat, like where are they at? You're kind of like seeking it out. Like be almost like a black cat versus like a golden retriever. There's a different energy about it. People will almost like seek it out. So like we prefer like black cat energy versus like golden retriever energy. That is like number 1 that most people are doing wrong.
Okay.
Number 2 is like you're just not listening and you're not paying attention to what your ideal client wants. If you listen and like literally like shut up, your people will tell you exactly what they want.
Yep.
And most people are trying to sell people things that they don't need because they're trying to create what they want. Most time when people come to me, they're like, oh, I'm creating a membership or I'm creating a mastermind or I'm creating a retreat, right? Insert whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, does your audience want this? And they're like, well, I don't know, but I'm really excited about it and I really want to sell it. And it's like, well, that's great that you want to sell it, but you got to go back to your audience and find out what they want. And if you figure out what your audience wants and serve it up on a gold platter, that's when you make sales. There's a lot of things that I would love to be selling right now, but my audience doesn't want it. So you know what I do? I keep selling the things that they want. They want infinity and they want one-on-one coaching. So that's all I sell.
Yeah.
Do I get bored selling the same 2 things? Of course. I've been talking about infinity for a year and a half every day, but that's what my audience wants. So it's like, that is number 2. That piggybacks on to number 3 is people are selling way too many offers because they get bored or they're not giving it enough time.
Yeah.
And they're just like throwing spaghetti against the wall and they're trying something. They're like, oh, I ran a master class and it didn't work, so I'm going to try something else. Or I launched a mastermind and it didn't work, so I'm going to try something else. Like you should be trying stuff for 6 months to a year before you ever change it up to see it and to get proof of concept and to get data. So I think those are like the 3 biggest mistakes that I see.
Those ones are huge.
Yeah.
And everybody can learn something from those 3.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is I'm going to uncover some of the magic in how you learned those 3 things.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming here, but I know I've had offers that have flopped.
Yeah, of
Most
course.
of us have, right? So let's talk about mindset a little bit.
Yeah.
about an offer that flopped, about something that you tried in your new venture,
Yeah.
not in corporate.
Yeah.
And how you overcame it.
Yeah.
And what it looked like what did the mental gymnastics look like
Yeah.
when you were working through it?
Yeah. So I'm actually going to talk about webinars because
Okay.
I have been trying to master webinars for almost a year.
Okay.
So webinars, if you don't know anything about webinars, they're almost like another job. Like there
Mhm.
is so much that goes into them. There's so much like behind the scenes that goes into them. So for about a year, I have been saying like, I want to master webinars. And most people think like you do a webinar once and it works and all these people sign up. And
Wouldn't that be great?
wouldn't that be fantastic? And I was the person that did a webinar once and nobody signed up and nobody bought. And I moved to the next thing and I got distracted, right? So I was 100% that person. And then 6 months went by and I was like, oh, I think I'm going to try webinars again. Then I launched it on my stories, did it again. A couple people showed up, nobody bought. And I was like, oh, this sucks. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
And then at the end of last year, I committed to doing 300 live webinars.
Wow.
So I said, I'm going to do this webinar called Income to Inbox. I'm going to do it 300 times.
Mhm.
And I'm going to do it regardless if anybody shows up, whether if anybody buys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it every single Wednesday
Mhm.
for 300 Wednesdays, but we're going to also do it Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So that's how we're going to get to the 300.
Sure.
And some days we're going to do it morning and we're going to do it night. So I'm not doing it for 300 Wednesdays.
And these are all live.
All live. We're not flipping
Wow.
any of them to evergreen.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to test it at the end of every one. And we're going to
Mhm.
make tweaks.
Sure.
I'm also done trying to figure it out on my own. So again,
Got a coach.
for the last year, I've been trying to figure it out on my own. I've been trying to figure it out. So I went to the very best. I hired someone on Russell Brunson's team through ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
And again, I want you to hear this. I had not made $1 on webinars, right? I had not made $1 on webinars. I had not figured it out, but I was like, I don't want to do this on my own anymore. So I hired the best of the best, brought this guy in. His name's Mike Schmidt. And what we do now is every single Wednesday, we do the webinar
Mhm.
and then we look at the data and then we craft it and we switch it and we make tweaks.
Amazing.
And for someone like me who wants quick results, wants
Yeah.
quick action, you have to be patient. And it's
Yeah.
hard, right? So a month ago, we launched the first webinar with a new concept.
Mhm.
Guess what? Nobody showed. And I was like,
Bombed.
this sucks. Nobody's here. I just invested in this mentor. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know, and I wanted to like spiral. The next week I showed up, a couple people were on, but nobody bought. But there was progress because the first week,
Yeah.
nobody
Nobody
was there. Second week, we had people on. I
Mhm.
was like, okay. This week, we had 78 people show up, or 78 people register, 47 people showed, and we had 3 people buy. So $21,000
Yeah.
Wednesday. We're making progress, right? So now what we do is we just keep tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. If we keep this up, we're going to keep doing this until we hit 7 figures. Once we hit 7 figures on the webinar, then we'll flip it to evergreen.
Yeah.
But you got to commit. So I committed, like, I'm going to do this webinar until it generates 7 figures.
Yeah.
And once it hits 7 figures, then we'll move it to evergreen. But that's the thing. It's like, you got to commit. You got to go all in. You got to get the help. And next week, I might do this webinar and make no sales.
Mhm.
And I might go backwards. And even Mike said that, like, just because you had a good week this week, you might have next week. And
Not.
it's all a process and it's all a game.
Yeah, but it's the compounding and
Mhm.
it's you're creating the habit stack of
Yep.
you believe in this mission.
Yeah.
Every time you do it, you're getting a little bit better. So
Every
your
time.
confidence is getting better.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we looked at a recording
Oh my gosh.
from the first one to even 30 days later,
It's crazy.
night and day.
Yeah. One of my clients came to the first one
Mhm.
and she messaged me yesterday in Voxer. I wish I literally had it on this podcast right now. And she was like, Jill, in 30 days,
Yeah.
just from the emails, the tech, the
Mhm.
setup, the follow-up, the registration, not even before I even got to you. And
Yeah.
then once I got to you, it was like a totally different experience. And then even like the way you showed up in the slide. So it's like even my clients got such a better experience before they even got to the webinar.
Well, and it's a testament too to getting the help,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes when we've had success, we're like, we lean on that
Mhm.
and then we tell ourselves we don't need it. We all need help. And
All
if,
need help.
if the second you start acting like you've got it all figured out,
Yeah.
you're going to start backsliding real freaking quick.
Real quick. Yeah.
Real quick. So, a couple of takeaways. One, you got to show up for yourself. You got to
Yeah.
make the commitment and go. Second, you got to celebrate the wins
Mhm.
along the way because when you do have that backslide, you now have that to go look at and be like, well, look at the difference.
Yeah.
Right. And this is totally kind of off topic, but it's something that I used to do when I had my software company with my sales team is I made them do mandatory where we would do groups of 5. And we would listen to an entire sales call
Mhm.
for that person. And it was all with love and
Totally.
kindness, right? But no matter what, when you're doing sales, you're going to miss something that someone else sees.
Yes.
And any amount of feedback is a gift
Yep.
that's going to keep giving
Yep.
and making you better.
Yep.
So I love that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And just looking at the difference yourself.
It is.
Because it shows
Yep.
so much.
It is. Yep. And even Mike, my webinar coach, he makes me Wednesday right after the webinar, I have to rewatch the replay.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, did you talk too fast? Did you play with your hair? Because I'm always playing with my hair. Like, did you play with your hair? Was it distracting? Like,
Yeah.
I have to even watch it and be like, okay, I could have like done this different or do this different. And I love that. And the last thing I'll say on that too, even talking about like being in mentorship, I just had this conversation with my mentor, Chris. He came and spoke at my Infinity Live event. And, you know, we talked about like even me being in mentorship. He's been my mentor for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I asked the question to him, like, why do you stay in mentorship even when things are working?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's actually when you never leave because there's certainty. There's certainty that it's working here. There's certainty that you've had success. And it's certainty that you're going to run into a roadblock again.
Yep.
Right. And there's certainty that you can always fall back on this because we have about an 18-month retention rate with our clients that they stay with us. And it's for that reason. It's like they don't maybe need me right now.
Sure.
But there's going to be something that happens down the road. So it's like, yeah, if you're in mentorship right now and you're like, oh, I don't really think I need my coach or I think I can kind of do this on my own, there's going to be something right around the corner that you're going to wish that you had a community or a mentor to lean back into.
Well, and if you're sitting there with the mindset, let's just get into the heads of the listeners for a minute. So if you're sitting there with the mindset of, I don't need a mentor or I don't need the help, that is holding you back.
100%.
That is holding you back from the big expansion, the big dreams that you think that you want. I'm always looking for somebody who's further along than me.
Always.
I want to be in proximity to somebody that's done way bigger things than me because I don't ever want to backslide.
No.
I want to keep going. I want to keep growing. So if you've been on the fence about getting a mentor or thinking about working with someone, let this be your sign. Look at, you're a sales expert and you just hired an expert in webinars.
Totally.
Because that's how you want to elevate and expand your brand.
Yeah. And I go to sales webinars. I go to sales trainings. There's a coach here, Jeremy Miner in Scottsdale.
I love Jeremy.
Love Jeremy. Yeah. I go to all of his things. I download his courses, like all those things. And it's funny because because he's also so different than me. He coaches so different. His style's so different. He's actually like way more bro marketing.
Totally.
But I can always pick up something from him.
Sure.
I just had a guy, Austin, on my podcast who could not be any more different than me. But maybe I pick up 1 or 2 golden nuggets from him or something that he said. So just because you're an expert in your space, you should also still be learning from people that are in there and also go and see like, how do they pitch at the end, right? Like I might go to something that Jeremy does, even if I don't need to learn anything about sales, but like, how does he pitch from the stage? Yeah. How does he work the room? How does he work the audience? How is he in community? Like always go and just learn from other experts in the space.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so tell me about, let's totally pivot.
Totally.
And I want you to share like a mic drop moment in your life where you like a low. And I want you to bring me into the space of what it felt like mentally, what it maybe looked like physically, and how you came out of it and like got back to who's sitting in this chair right now, because a badass is sitting in the chair right now.
Yeah, so I think we can actually even bring it back to just like 30 days ago. So
okay.
we have some low moments that have happened in entrepreneurship, but February was the worst month I've actually ever had in business in 4 years. And I think this is a really important lesson for everyone to understand. There's something about not making any sales in your business when you are a sales coach and when you are a sales mentor and you are trading and teaching people how to make sales, and yet you don't have a single sale coming in.
Yeah.
It is very hard when your clients are like, hey, I'm not making sales. And you're like, I'm not either, right? Like it was absolutely hard. And there was so much, I don't get imposter syndrome.
Sure.
There was so much imposter syndrome in February. I had so much self-doubt. I was so nervous. Like, am I a fraud? Are people going to find out? Like, how am I possibly showing up on these coaching calls, coaching people when people aren't buying from me?
Yeah.
How am I able to like tell people how to close in the DMs when I can't close in the DMs? Like it was awful. I mean, I was in Chris's text messages so many times in February. Like I don't know what to do.
That was your moment. That was when you needed him.
Yeah. And this is what he said, like, it's just 30 days. Like, calm the F out. Like, it's just a fluke. Like, you are such a badass in sales. Like, it is just 1 month. And I want to tell you, March, we had our largest cash month ever.
Oh, I got chills.
Yeah, our largest cash month ever and our largest cash day ever in March. So it's just a reminder that just because you're going through it or you're having a slow month or you're having a slow day or even a slow quarter, it doesn't take away from your skill set, because all that I was reminded of in March when the sales did come in was that my pipeline was just a little bit slower. Those people were in my pipeline in February. They just needed a couple extra weeks to buy. And they just need to move into March. But I will tell you, like, having a mentor to lean into and also having a community. I've been in the same mastermind for 4 years.
Yeah.
And being able to tap into that mastermind and having them farther ahead. And I'll tell you, when I tapped into that mastermind in February and I said, this is the first month I've never made sales in my business, some of them were like, oh my God, that's so cute that this is the first time that's ever happened to you. Like,
Must be nice.
Welcome to entrepreneurship, Jill.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're finally seeing it, because it is actually the norm. And I had actually never experienced it. And I also think it humbled me a little bit, because it hasn't been hard for me.
Yeah.
It has never been hard for me. I came out of corporate and moved into the online space. Swinging.
Yeah.
I have been like a unicorn. Like, I could go on my stories and put something up and sales just come in. And for the first time, I was like, oh, I kind of feel what it's like to be in one of my clients that it's hard, or to put something out and it's not buying. And I think it almost humbled me a little bit and also removed some like entitlement energy, which maybe I needed a little bit.
Sure.
So yeah, I think February was a really powerful month for me.
Well, and gave you a huge opportunity to really relate to your clients.
100%.
Because when you haven't sat in the seat, it's hard to talk through it.
Yeah.
And to be able to share that story and be so open and authentic and vulnerable about it, because when you social media, everybody gets put on a pedestal, right? It's like, no, show me the shit. I call it the shit they should have shown. And that's like under the iceberg.
100%.
I want to see that stuff. That's what this podcast is about. Like, show me that stuff, because we're all going through moments like that. And even when you've had a ton of success, it's not, imposter syndrome isn't something that goes away.
No.
It's something that can creep in at any time, and you develop skills to be able to get yourself through it.
Yep. Yep.
So
it's so true.
That is an incredible example of a comeback, like mentally, and being mentally strong, and the power of having a network.
Yeah. And
that you can rely on.
Yeah. And I'll say too, one of the things that my clients have always said to me is like, you're so real, and that like you do show us like the messy middle and what you're going through. And that makes us more magnetic to you. Yeah. Because when I like, so my Infinity community knew what I was going through, like my clients, but like social didn't know, right? Yeah. So when I got on calls, I was like, you guys, I realize you're not selling, but like, I'm not either. So like, we're all in this together. And they were like, it felt so good knowing that like our mentor was also going through it. And you didn't like sit up there and try to like
pedestal it
or be like, you know, I don't go what it's not. Like, you were right there with us. And they're like, that's what we actually love about you, because like you're willing to be like, yeah, this shit is hard. And I'm also going through it, instead of being like, well, I just had like $1 million month. Like, I don't know why it's hard for you guys. I was like, no, this shit is hard and people aren't buying right now. So like, save your pennies. Don't buy shit on Amazon. Like, it is a tough month right now.
Well, and that's an ick, right? So for me, when I'm looking for a mentor, I'm not looking for the most perfect person, the one with the best stuff. I'm looking for the one that's willing to share the really hard shit. Yeah. Because that's what allows me to skip the line. Yeah. That's where I get to learn their lessons without having to go through that same thing myself. So I'm like, where's the person that's talking about the biggest problem, and a problem that I haven't experienced yet, but is probably around the corner? Yeah. That's who I want to surround myself with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. So I love doing this to wrap up my episodes, because I think as entrepreneurs, we get busy and we forget to celebrate our small wins. And you just shared a really big one.
Thank you.
So within the last week, I want you to share like a magic moment that maybe you didn't take a minute to celebrate, that we can celebrate with you today.
Yeah. I hosted my largest event ever. Woo! Yeah. So that was such a big win. It was just like, looking back 3 years ago, my first event had 7 people at it. Wow. And we crushed a room with 47 people in it, had That's huge amazing. Speakers. And yeah, I think I did celebrate it, but not I didn't really stop and celebrate it. So
I
would love
know
to
that you
celebrate.
didn't because I saw you go speak at an event the day
The
after
next
it
day,
wrapped up.
literally the next day.
So can
Yeah.
we get like we're all clapping for you behind the scenes
Thank
right
you.
now?
Thank you.
And I know that you focus on, you're doing the two things. You've got the one-on-one coaching and you've
Yeah.
got the webinars, which I need to come to one because I want to come to one and then I want to come to one like 3 months
Yeah,
later.
please.
So I can literally be like, this is how much you've grown.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us where we can find you.
Yeah,
And
on
get connected.
Instagram at the
Okay.
Jillian Murphy. I always say slide into my DMs. I want to get to know you. I want to be your friend. I'm not going to sell you anything in the DMs. My content will sell you. I won't.
Yeah.
Come to the webinar. It's every single Wednesday. It's all about like how to drive people to your DMs to sell and how to make your content a money making machine for you. And then I have one-on-one coaching in Infinity. So yeah, just come over, get to know me. I have a podcast. It's called Scale Your Sales. I can't wait to have you on it. We drop 3 episodes a week. It's just a great episode. So yeah, come over, check it out.
Okay, everybody go be her bestie in
Please.
the DMs. And one thing she didn't say that I want her to start saying is go learn how to not have commission breath. Because
yeah.
she is the opposite of that and people
Thank
can
you.
smell it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants your commission breath.
No, it's gross.
All right, people, go make magic,
Thank
be
you.
magic makers, and thanks for tuning in today.
Thanks for having me.